Hello and welcome everyone to the Copy and Paste Reddit Reading Podcast. The clean and family-friendly Reddit Reading Podcast. As you have read, after many requests, I have finally settled r/AmITheAHole for YouTube reasons. Please let me know if you want me to focus on one post followed by some comments, or if you would prefer multiple posts without reading any comments. I don't know how to do this one. If this video gets some positive feedback, you're sure to see an episode 2. Thank you for joining me today. Let's kick it off with the first post by an NSFW account. Am I the a-hole for not giving up my second free seat next to me in the plane? I am obese. I'm comfortable having 2 seats in the plane type of obese. I'm well aware, and I really don't like to bother people with my weight. A week ago, I was going to a conference by plane, and because I was going alone, usually when I fly with my boyfriend, I don't buy 2 seats. He sits next to me. I bought 2 seats. I fit in one, but my side is usually touching the person next to me, and I feel uncomfortable for them. It happened to me that they gave me nasty looks, and I felt extremely uncomfortable the whole flight. So I sat down on the plane and put the armrest up, so it would be really comfortable. Some couple came, and they both sat next to me because they got separate seats, and they noticed the seat next to me was empty. Exactly what I was afraid of happening. My side kept touching the guy next to me, and he even pushed me a bit when he moved in the seat. I was feeling extremely uncomfortable, and asked him if he could go to a seat, because I bought this one for my comfort. He told me no, since the seat is empty, and he wants to be with his girlfriend. Well, I told him I understand, but I feel uncomfortable, and I paid for the second seat, so exactly this doesn't happen. He refused again and started to chat with his girlfriend. I called the flight attendant and quietly told her what's happening. She asked the guy to leave my second seat, and he and his girlfriend gave me a nasty look. The girlfriend mumbled something insulting under her breath, but nothing directly at me. So am I the a-hole for insisting him to leave? And now the second post by user /FuzzyPen1457. Am I the a-hole for not telling a guy what I do for work and letting him pay for my drinks during the whole evening? My friend Grace invited me to a board game bar to play and have drinks with her, her boyfriend and one of their friends, Nick. We went to get drinks in pairs, Grace going with her boyfriend. Meanwhile, Nick and I stayed at the table and vice versa. So Nick and I had plenty of time to just talk, just the two of us. Nick started the night by telling about his recent career change. He decided to quit his previous job, go to the coding bootcamp, and get a job as a developer 1 or 2 months ago. He was very proud of himself and his new salary, and told me this multiple times. He never asked me what I do for work, but talked about his new job quite a lot, occasionally saying, "Sorry, you don't understand that, haha," during the entire evening. I never told him I've been working as a software engineer for the past 4 years, because he never asked, and honestly, I found it a bit entertaining. When it came to the drinks, he invited me to every single one. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem with my developer salary. I told him multiple times he doesn't have to pay for me, but he insisted. At the end of the night, when we were saying our goodbye, he took out his phone and sent me a friend request on Facebook. My job is listed in my profile, so that when he realized that I'm a software engineer. He asked me if it's true that I'm a software engineer, and I answered yes. He asked me why I haven't told him. Why did I let him believe I was a cashier, like Grace used to be? I never implied that. And why did I let him pay for everything when I probably earn more than him? I told him that he never once asked, and it was his fault, he assumed. He could have simply asked me about my job, but he only wanted to brag about his. But if he wants me to, I can pay him back for the drinks. He was angry and said I made a fool out of him. I think he did that, not me. But now Grace and her boyfriend are on his side too, saying that it would have cost me nothing to tell him early in the evening, and I only kept it for myself for my own entertainment. Well, I did find it entertaining, but I don't really feel like I did anything wrong. Am I the a-hole? And now the third post by another NSFW account. Am I the a-hole for not making coffee how my fiancé wants me to? Weird title. I'm 23 female, you know, but this had been a point of contention for a while. My fiancé, 25 male, is a foodie and extremely particular about a few things, one of them being coffee. We use a manual grinder, get distilled water. The water in our area is really hard, and according to him, it affects the taste, but I don't notice anything. And we have an AeroPress and a metal coffee filter to make the coffee. I'm very much not a foodie, unless being a Sour Patch Kids connoisseur is a thing. My fiance weighs his coffee beans to make sure that he's using the exact right amount, changes the setting on the coffee grinder depending on whether he's using the AeroPress or the metal coffee filter, measures the water, and if he's using the AeroPress, lets the coffee grounds and water brew for a certain amount of time before actually making the coffee. On the other hand, I use a scoop to measure my coffee beans. Use whatever setting the grinder is on. We'll usually just use tap water, eyeball the water instead of measuring it, and don't let it sit to brew. And you know what? It's fine. It tastes fine. It makes me happy. The end. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Problem is that it really bothers my fiance. We've had multiple arguments about me making my coffee wrong, and it's very normal for him to badger me to weigh my coffee beans or switch the coffee grinder to the optimal setting while I'm making my coffee. If I'm making coffee for him, sure, I'll measure the beans and all of that jazz, but I know that he can taste the difference. But I don't think that I should have to jump through all of those hoops for something that doesn't affect him. On the other hand, he seems to be really bothered by this. Today, as I was trying to scoop coffee beans into the grinder, he reached around me to put the scale he uses in front of me and asked me to please weigh my coffee beans. I was really frustrated because we've had this conversation so many times. So I snapped the word no at him and he walked away and muttered, "You too," saying that even though I hadn't said it, I'd definitely be thinking, "Screw you." For the record, I wasn't thinking that. So am I the a-hole for not making coffee how my fiance thinks I should, and for sometimes snapping at him when he gets too pushy about it? My mouth started dying in that post. I don't know why. And now the final post by user / Cameron James 222. Something's wrong with me. Am I the a-hole for leaving my best friend and his friends stranded in an unfamiliar city? So, for background, my best friend has gotten into these Spartan races. He and a small group of his friends have started going to local ones, but recently heard one in another state that he wanted to go to and compete in, but they didn't have anywhere to stay. So they asked me if they could borrow my truck and trailer for the weekend. I said no, I wasn't comfortable with them taking my truck and trailer, but that I'd drive them and their camper to the event. We made the 3-hour trip and set everything in the area where the race was taking place the next day. I have a habit of leaving my keys on a hook next to the door to my bedroom in my camper. Remember this? Come nightfall, I went to take a phone call outside and ended up wandering around the grounds for over an hour. When I got back to the camper, the door was locked, and I was told by my best friend's older friend through the window that there wasn't enough room for me in my trailer. So I reached for my keys to unlock the door, but realized I had left them inside the camper on the hook in the room. So I called my best friend from outside, and all I was told was, "Sorry bro, nothing I can do." So I ended up sleeping in my truck that night, which I fortunately left unlocked by accident. Their race began at 8 a.m. and at 7. They came meandering out of the trailer and woke me up. No apology, by the way. So while they were in the race, I hooked my truck back to the trailer, closed and locked everything, and waited until just after they finished, and then started walking back to the trailer. When I saw them coming, I started the truck and drove off the property, with them chasing behind. I made the 3-hour trip back home, declining call after call. When I finally got home, I finally took my best friend's call. He started yelling at me, saying, "Why would you do this? We have no way home now." I just said, "Sorry, you shouldn't have made me sleep in my truck after I did you this solid." He told me that there were better ways to handle this than by leaving him in an unfamiliar city with no way home. I think he ended up calling his dad to come and get them. Is he alright? Was there a better way to handle this? I felt justified until he said that. Kinda doubting my decision now. Am I the a-hole? And that was it for the first episode of /Am I the a-hole for YouTube reasons. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next week. Adios.